I think you should know this. This is no longer a financial rumor. Guess what? KRA will actually monitor all your transactions as far as your Mpesa account is concerned. They're gonna see how much you're sending, how much you're receiving, and how much you're transacting, in short. And they're gonna as well have an access of your bank accounts. Guess what? Yes, KRA has requested all the financial institutions to integrate their systems into those particulars. That is your bank account, your names and everything. And guess why they're doing this? To expand their tax base. The tax man feels like they are not getting enough. And by the way, guess what? See, there is this, oh, by the way, if you're watching this video and you're watching from international countries that is far from Kenya or outside Kenya, well, in simple terms, the KRA is the revenue authority that actually collects all the taxes from everyone, and they're trying the best to make sure that they expand their basket of income, and that is exactly what they're doing, and this is the reason that they're giving out there. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I post these kind of videos each and every time. Here is where we talk about financial rumors, and when I say rumors, I don't mean like unverified information. No, verified information. And if you don't want to miss any of good videos of mine, go ahead and hit that like button, make sure that you subscribe and turn that notification bell, so be notified whenever you are out there. And by the way, there's a question I want to ask you. How many of you watching this video have actually gone to a bank to withdraw some cash, and the banks are telling you, hey, instead of giving you the fiat money or the physical cash, they're actually telling you, hey, would you mind if you can just send it to your Mpesa? If you've received anything like that, tell me on the comment section, because whoa, I think times are changing too fast. In Kenya, we say syllabus is moving at a quite of a very high rate. Anyway, guess what again they're gonna do? They're actually gonna integrate. They're gonna focus on what we call, they're gonna monitor the fuel consumption in motorists. Guess what they're doing? Well, they're saying that this time around, whenever you go to fuel your car, you'll be required to key in your PIN, that is your personal identification number. That is the number. It's like kind of an equivalence of, social security number in the US or something of sort. So you'll be required to key in that to generate a digital invoice, so that to monitor how much has been consumed in that car, in that particular petrol station. This is to expand their basket of income. They're doing all this to make sure that at least Kenya actually be able to fund its own projects, fund its own wage bill and everything, because hey, Kenya is borrowing a lot. By the way, we've been revising our debt ceiling. Okay, I don't want to go to the complexity of the economies and what have you, but Kenya has been actually revising its own debt ceiling each and every time. To revise the debt ceiling simply means, let's say the capping says, hey, we cannot borrow above 10 trillion. That's the equivalent of like $10 billion or something of sort, whatever. Then the moment they realize they're about to close it, then they actually revise it, make it 10, make it 11, make it 12. So it goes expanding. And the issue of debt is not really strange to Kenya. And even not only Kenya, but globally, if you go to US, the taxes already has surpassed the GDP. It's above 100. Kenya yet, we are not yet there, but at least we are talking above 60% or something of sort. So anyway, the point of making this video is to let you know that indeed everything will be monitored. Can you imagine this? They are saying, these taxmen, they're saying they only have 120,000 registered. That is as of June 2024. They have said only 120,000 businesses have registered for a thing they call it e-teams. E-teams is like an electronic form of you generating an invoice. Let's say you want to go for a deal with a company, or an agreement or a contract or what have you. So the way we used to go back to your computer and generate your own invoice and you give it that company. No, in Kenya, you're required to go to the tax systems called the KRA, and then you go there, you generate that particular invoice, then you send it there, such that the government is aware of the business that you guys are transacting. So let's say you're making a deal, say, of 100,000, the government gets its own percentage and what have you, you get your own, the company gets whatever they're gonna get and something or so. So they want to integrate, and guess what? Only 120,000 guys have registered for that. So this is what they're doing, okay? They are comparing the number of registered. Here in Kenya, we have things called pay bill, okay? Something called pay bill. There's something else called pochi la biashara, and then we have the last thing called the till. Okay, this is where you go somewhere, you key on the till or whatever you send. All these are mobile payment systems. In case you're watching me from Nigeria and you're like, what the hell are you talking about, Joseph? This is exactly what I'm talking about. So the government is actually checking the rate at which, or the number of guys who have actually registered for the tax deductions from these systems, vis-a-vis compared to the people who are using their pay bill, the Pochi la Biashara and the till, and they are approximating over like 2M or 2 million people are actually registered on this compared to 120. They're like, guess what? If we can integrate our systems into those three things, and we actually, consider this pay bill, Pochi, and till as, how can I frame this one? As a taxable, as a taxable sort of a payment or something of sort, then we can actually be making quite of a good amount of money. And that's why they're asking everything to make sure that they get integrated into this. If you're paying something, the pay bill number, you who is buying, it actually can be monitored how much you consumed in terms of when you're buying it. And of course, whoever is selling that particular thing to you, whenever the money lands to their account, then they can also monitor that. So anyway, definitely I know this will have positive and negative reactions to most of the Kenyans. And of course, right now as you speak, Kenyans are actually saying, hey, you know what? We think like our, privacy has been infringed. We think that I've violated our privacy. Hey, they shouldn't do that, blah, 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 and all those kind of things. You know what? Wow. I don't know, maybe it can be good to government, but is it good for us who are Kenyans and something of so? Just let you know, indeed, that has actually been passed, and it's like one of the things that was there in the financial bill of 2023. Some of them have been borrowed, incorporated here, as well as that monitoring of the fuel consumption, just to make sure that they expand their tax base, to make sure that they are getting as much as they can for the purposes of them getting the tax, for the purposes of them developing the nation, and what have you. Well, for me, I do report. I don't make news. I report. As far as the finances are concerned, I come here to report to you exactly what is happening there. Well, the question is, let me know in the comment section. Are you comfortable with this? And do you think like indeed this was the best move for them to do that? And do you think maybe there's something else that they can actually change, maybe in terms of the corruption? Because I don't think any citizen actually has a problem paying taxes. But the problem is that people pay taxes, but they don't see where the taxes comes in. Can you imagine this? All these deductions are being made from your phone or from your accounts, and there you are. The next 2 minutes you hear that there is a scandal that has actually passed there. I don't know who stole what, and it's so paining. Anyway, if they can actually work on how they actually, their tax basket, and they make sure that the intended cash goes to where it's supposed to be, then of course everyone would wish their country to develop. But voila, this is Kenya. I mean, I don't know what happens in your country. Anyway, if you're watching this from a different country, let us know. Is this thing happening in your country? Do you have these like this? Are the government actually monitoring how is your accounts? So they'll be saying, you are so and so, your account is this and this, your account has this, you transact this. So they compare how much you're paying for your tax vis-a-vis how much you're having out there. Then be like, yeah, okay, I think you should be paying tax because I think you're paying a lot of money. I think you're transacting a lot. Then we should be getting something from you. And so that, I mean, I don't know. I think we are moving at a very high rate. It is what it is. So anyway, just let you know that. So if you have a car, you'll be monitored how much your car consumes and whatever you fuel that particular car, in case you're thinking about starting up a petrol station or gas station, for the sake of who are watching from the Western countries, okay? So you'd be required to actually let them know what exactly is going on there. Number two, they will actually know how much you have in your account. Three, they will make sure that how much you have in your Mpesa. Four, they will make sure how much you have in Mshwari. People who know what is an Mshwari. And by the way, when I say Mpesa, this, cut across even the T-Cash that is under the Telcom. They'll also cut across under what we call the Airtel Money that is under the Airtel. So all those areas will be actually a possible taxable areas by the government to make sure that at least they raise this figure from 120. I don't know what they're targeting, but anyway, they are comparing who have registered and who have the potential to be registered. Then they think that they are too far. I was actually watching one of them, I don't want to mention the name here, but I was watching one of the MPs in Kenya. He was saying that Kenya is only collecting, we have an approximation of an economy or GDP of 18 trillion. This in terms of Kenyan shillings. If you convert this into US dollars, that's like 118 billion US dollars. That's our GDP per capita. Not per capita, brother, but that's the GDP nominal. Now they are saying out of this we are only collecting 14%, and if we can manage to and he was using a very simple example of, hey, South Africa is collecting 25% with reference to that's what they have in terms of the GDP. So they were saying anyway, if we can manage to collect only 25%, I don't know, we can manage to collect 1.4 trillion Kenyan shillings, that's like 40 billion, and our budget, like this year budget was around 3.6 trillion. That means that we have an excess of 400 billion. trillion, and he was saying, hey, you know what, every Kenyan can be asked their number and something can be sent at the end of the year. So I don't know how possible it is, and we're actually collecting only 14% of our taxes. So what we have, the problem that Kenya has, that's why we are not able to collect this amount of money. And therefore, for example, if our budget is 3.6 trillion and we can only collect, I don't know, 1.7 or 2 trillion or something of sort, so we borrow like I think we borrow like 600 billion, close to a trillion. So they are saying if we need 6.6, 3.6, and we can collect 4.1 only by exercising that 5%, then we can, and then we can have an excess, so we can't borrow. So we'll be actually servicing the debt that was actually existed before. So anyway, numbers are so good, but how possible is it for them to raise these 14 all the way to 25%? So that's a question that you really need to ask ourselves and see how possible that is. And of course, if they manage to collect this 1.4.1 billion trillion, will it actually go to the intended places, or some people will just actually be stealing this money and enriching themselves or something of sort? So it's a question, it's a game of wait and see how exactly it will be. So anyway, the reason why he was saying we are unable to collect this amount of money is because of our informal businesses. So the government is unable to monitor everyone's transaction and see who is transacting what in terms of how much and what have you. So if they can be able to monitor everyone's business, no matter how small the business it is. In Kenya, we say mama mboga and whoever, no matter how down you are there, if they can manage to actually get that, then they can be able to expand this basket. And who knows? And we'll be having a lot of things in terms of development. Anyway, I'm going to leave that to you and tell me, are you comfortable everyone monitoring how much goes in your transactions and that? Do you feel like they have infringed our rights? And of course, we do have the right to our privacy. Well, I'm going to leave it there. For me, I don't make news. I'm here to report whatever is going out there. I said anything and everything related to cash and is affecting your cash. Good Joseph will always be there and try the best to inform you what is happening. So if you've consumed this news, let me know. Anyway, as always, if you'd like to get my services, my number is always on the description of this specific video. Let's talk business and do the best as we can, even if we'll never make the world a better place. So how about our pockets? See you there.